So we're going to talk more about simple interest and compound interest. Compound interest has a more complex formula, but simple interest is something that you are going to want to know about so that you can either become a consumer of a loan or actually do some investments to figure out how much money you would earn. And like I said, this is a little tweak on the percent formula that we've been learning so far. Here are some definitions that you're going to want to keep in mind as we work with the formula. Interest. Interest is the amount earned for the use of money. Principal. Principal is the amount of money invested or borrowed. Remember, you can either be a consumer or you can be a person who is receiving the interest. Investor. A rate is the percent that's earned, and usually when we see the rate, it is an annual percentage rate, or APR is the abbreviation, and it means for 1 year. Your time is based on a year, so the time is always based on 1 year. And a lot of times you'll have to use 12 months in your formula. And the actual simple interest formula is I equals PRT. Now we'll talk about what each of those elements are in just a second here. All right, so the simple interest formula. I stands for the interest that's paid. R is your annual percentage rate. And what a lot of people like to do with the annual percentage rate is convert it from a percentage to a decimal and then use it in the formula. T stands for time. And P stands for principal. Now remember, your time is based on a year, and your principal is the amount of money that you either invested and are needing to get paid on, or it's the amount of money that you borrowed, just the amount that you borrowed, and how much you're going to have to pay back, okay? So let's actually do a couple of these problems so you guys can see how they work. Okay, simple interest calculation. Now typically, interest is not simple interest paid only once a year. You can pay your interest semi-annually, which means twice a year. You can pay it 4 times a year, which is quarterly. You can pay it monthly, which is 12 times a year each month. Or you can do it daily, which is 365 times a year. Usually, if it's a daily interest, you're going to go and put yourself into the compound interest category. But it can also be paid daily. So here's an example. Remember that our formula is the interest is equal to the principal times your rate times your time. Let's say that you invest $500 in an account that paid simple interest. You want to find the interest amount that you've received if you left it in all year long. Now the interest is only going to be 2% APR. And I'm not even sure nowadays, can you even get 2% in a typical savings account? I think it's even lower than that, right? Anybody been saving anything in an interest account lately? No? Okay. So let's plug these numbers in our formula. Remember, interest is equal to the principal times the rate times the time. So the principal is $500. The rate is 2%, but we're going to write that as a decimal, which is 0.02. And the time is 1 year, so we'll just put 1 for 1 year. Now, I set these up like a fraction for the rate. For my 2%, I put 2 over 100, but if you like decimals, you can change it to 0.02, which is 2 hundredths. I just like to do this so I can cancel. Now that I have the formula set up, I'm going to just use cancellation. 100 goes into 100 once. 100 goes into 500 5 times. And what's 5 times 2? 10. So you'll earn $10 at the end of the year. You'll have to, I know, you'll have to decide, is it worth it? This is probably why you guys don't know anything about the savings accounts right now, because you're earning less than 2%, so nobody's putting their money in the savings account. Especially if all you're going to get is $10 at the end of the year. You decide. To me, that's 2 cups of coffee at Starbucks, okay? 10 cups, oh, you pay only $1. So I did today too. So you have to decide if it's worth it to you. Because some people, they just want to save their money. They don't want to spend it, and this would be enough for them. They just want to keep it safe.
Like me, if I keep it outside, I spend.
Yeah, if you don't have it in the bank, you're going to spend it. And some people spend it even though it is in the bank. Okay, here's another account. You're going to invest $300 in this account. You're going to do simple interest, but it's 6 months for 3%. Now remember, the time is going to have to change here. I cannot do 1. I got to do 6 months. So my principal is 300. My rate is 3%. 3 over 100 is how I wrote it, but you could write it as a decimal. And the time is going to be 6 out of 12. Remember, the time is based on 1 year. So this is what I did. My principal is 300. My percentage is 3 out of 100 because I wrote it as a fraction. And my time is 6 out of 12 because I'm only going to have it in there for 6 months. That's all I can handle, okay? So I'm going to use cancellation. 100 goes into 100 once. 100 goes into 300 3 times. 6 goes into 12 twice, I'm sorry. And 6 goes into 6 once. And I can't cancel anything else. So what is 3 times 3? And 9 over 2 is, what's half of 9? $4.50. So you have to decide, putting it in, putting $300 in for 6 months and getting $4.50 interest is worth it to you. You might want to just set aside that money for, I don't know, a vacation or something, and you don't really care how much interest you get, so as long as you're getting a little something, okay? You decide if it's important to you to do that. Like Chanita said, if she has it outside, she'll spend it, so she just likes to put it in the bank.
And plus, I have to cancel for the education. Like, I can't hear that I have to have even and mail it. It's not safe.
So having the bank account helps you document your stay here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right. So yeah, you could use it for that as well. Here's another calculation. You guys tell me what I should do here. If you invested $200 in an account that paid simple interest, find how long you need to leave it in at 4% to make $10. What am I missing here? What's missing?
Time.
The time. So in my formula, I have interest is equal to the principal times the rate times the time. Well, in order to figure out time, I'm going to have to take that interest and divide it by whatever the principal times the rate is. So, principal is 200, rate is 4 over 100, and I know my interest is $10. I'm looking for the time. The time is what's missing. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify it down to T and a number on the left. 100 goes into 100 once. 100 goes into 200 twice. I have 2 times 4 is 8, which gives me 10 is equal to AT. Now you guys have seen these equations before. We did this like the first or second week of class. How do I isolate T to figure out my time? I need to get rid of that 8. How do I get rid of it? Divide it. So I divide both sides by 8. And then what will I get when I take 10 and divide it by 8? What do I get for my time? It'll go 1 and 0.25, okay? So if I say 1.25 years, what does that really mean? A year and what? 3 months, right? Yeah, a quarter of a year is 3 months. So 0.25 is a quarter. So you can say 1.25 years or 1 and 1/4 years, or you could just say 1 year and 3 months, which most people would understand. Okay? So there's a lot of ways you could write that answer. So in this calculation, not only can we find the interest, but we can, with these calculations, find the time, we can find the rate, and we can also back it up and find the principal. So if I can find the time, I can find any of those elements as long as I have the others. Okay, you invested $1,000 in an account that paid simple interest. Find the interest amount you'd receive if you left it in all year at 4%. You guys tell me how much money we'd have at the end of the year. Tell me the interest and then tell me how much is in the account. I'm going to add another question. And remember, this is the formula. The interest is equal to the principal times the rate times the time. Time is always based on 12 months or a year. What's my principal? What's the rate? 4%, which we'll write as 4 over 100 because I like to do fractions. And 1 year is just 1. How much did you get? 1,040, because my interest is going to be $40, right? The interest is $40, and at the end of that would be $40 plus the 1,000 in the account would be $1,040. Okay, but my interest itself would be $40. Okay? Any questions about this one? This is a typical interest problem. Plug it in the formula and solve. Did you get it, Miriam? Okay. All right, now, you guys know that after 1 year we'd have $1,040. But what happens after 2 years? If you don't reinvest that same $40, like you take the $40 out, you're going to have a total of $1,080. You need to do it for 2 years, then do it for 2 years. So the things I want you to remember is that a percent means per 100, and that's what the percent symbol means. You can convert your decimals, fractions, ratios to a percent by multiplying by 100, and you can convert your percent to a decimal, fraction, or ratio by dividing by 100. That is the first lesson you guys learned in percents. In our second lesson on percents, you guys learned how to find the percentage, the part, and the whole so that you could set up your percent formula. Once you set up the percent formula, you set it up. Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, you guys. This is going crazy here. You set it up, you cross multiply, and then you divide. And we did a lot of that yesterday with word problems. You want to make sure that you focus on the question and use any addition or subtraction on decrease problems. Can you answer this question for me? Oops, I gave you guys the answer. Hold on a second. I think this thing is on automatic, and I needed to turn it off. Yeah, it's doing automatic timings. Now, I need you not to do that because I'd like to put a couple of examples up. So let's just do a quick review working on these percents. About what percent is 7 of 49? Solve that for me and tell me what you get. What percent is 7/49? It's number 4, 14. Okay, good. Stevie's monthly salary was $1,400. Find his new monthly salary if it is 106% of his old one. Which expression should you use? How would I find his new salary? Which one of these expressions is correct? You think it's number 4? Okay. Anybody else thinks it's number 4? If you were to set it up, 106 over 100 is equal to I don't know over 1,400. I think number 4 is a good answer. You need to know how to set the problem up. On the GED, they don't always want you to give them the final answer. They want you to show them how to set it up, how to solve it, what is the correct way to solve it. So this question number 2 is a good example of something you might see on the GED or even on the compass test, those of you that are compass testing. A computer that regularly sells for $930 is marked down 30% during a sale. What is the price of the computer? Here I want you to actually give me the amount. Number 2 is correct. You really want to take 70% of 930. If you take 70% of 930, you should get 651. Okay? Subtract that on the complement side. Alana weighed 150 pounds before her diet. She lost 35 pounds. About what percentage of her body weight did she lose? What percentage of her body weight did she lose? %, number 4. Alrighty. Okay. Brad completed 21 miles of a 75-mile bike race. Which expression should be used to find his percentage of completion? What would his percentage of completion be? How would I solve it? He's done 21 miles of a 75-mile bike ride. Number 1? Okay, so I'll see you Monday. Okay. What did you say, Chinita? Number one? Number one is correct. What percent of the bike race must Brad finish? What does he have to bike to finish? Tell me that percent. The percentage that he needs to finish the race. How'd you get 72%?
I subtracted.
That's good. 75 minus 21, that's your part, and the whole is 75, okay? So that's how you got 72. Set that equal to 100. So these are some GED compass-like questions that you might have regarding percents. Now, sometimes they make them even more complicated than that. So just because we're focusing on simple interest today doesn't mean that you need to forget the other things that we've studied. On Monday, we're going to do a review of percents. So I want you to keep these types of problems in mind because that's what's going to be required of you on the review on Monday, okay? So let's go to your packet and get you started on your simple interest. And as usual, you have a pre-test and a post-test. Your pre-test is 85IYP1RL. Your post-test is 1ZXVNUKV. Okay, page 2 has the first question, but what do the general instructions say? You've got two examples there at the top for interest. For those of you that came in a little bit late, you can look at those two examples. It says to show all of your work on this paper. Find the simple interest for the following problems. The rate is an annual percentage rate unless otherwise stated. Okay, so question 1 says, we know that the interest is I equals PRT. The principal is $7,500. The rate is 2%, and I'm going to write mine as a fraction. You can write yours as a decimal if you like. And we have 4 years. What can I cancel? 100 goes into 100 once. 100 goes into 7,500 75 times. Can I cancel anything else? Basically, I get 75 times 8. So I get 600. Is that what you guys got? The interest is 600. On question 2, interest equals rate times principal times time. I have a principal of $26,700. I have a rate of 2%, and I have a time of 4.5 years. So I can cross out the 100, cross out these 2 zeros here. This will leave me with 267 times 2. Let's do that first. And then I need to take 534 times 4.5. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2. Was that a 3? 14, carry the 1, 12, 13, yeah. 5 times 3 is 13. 5 times 3 is 15, 16, 17, 25, 26. 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1. 12, 13, carry the 1, and 21. And how many decimal places did I have there? 1. So I got 2,403 all by its lonesome, which is D. What did you guys get when you did that one? When you took 2,000, actually it's 26,700 times 2% times 4.5. Did you get 2,403? You did? Okay. Did you guys get that? So finding the interest is not really difficult. You just have to be very careful about the time and how you write your interest rate. Okay, so you're just going to multiply that by, it's just a multiplication problem. Are there any questions on question 1 or question 2, how we set it up?
What did you do with the 4.5?
I multiplied it right here. I took 267 times 2, and I got 534, then I multiplied it by 4.5. And that gave me 2,403. So it's all multiplication, Miriam. Any other questions on this? Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, now the next couple of questions are very similar to what we did on page 2, so I'm going to have you guys go ahead and do page 3. And let's go to page 4 where it's a slightly different question. On question 7, what am I looking for here? I'm not looking for the interest. They already, oh no, they wanted the interest on that. Where do I have one that's different than finding the interest? Let's see. Actually, all of these seem pretty easy. They all got the same thing. Yeah, I don't think these are too difficult. 18 months. Just write your time as 18 over 12 here. Let's see, is number 5 different? Yeah, it's number 5. There's a couple that we can do that are different. So go to the chart on page 5. And let's do some of these that are not so straightforward, like the ones that are less than a year. Let's do one that's less than a year as an example. And then let's do one that's more than a year as an example, with fractions in it. Okay. Let's do this last one in the top chart. Hazel hat. I think this is the one that Matthew asked me about earlier today, but he had given me the wrong amount. Okay, so let's put the formula there. Interest equals the principal times the rate times the time. We're looking for the interest. My principal here is $565. My rate is 16%, so I'm going to write it as 16 over 100. And my time is 8 months, and it's 8 out of 12. Because remember, your interest is always based on a year. So there's 12 months in a year. So this is really going to be a fraction of a year. Now, looking at this problem, where can I cross multiply or divide? Where can I cancel? I usually try to, so I could do that by 5. I know that 5 goes into 100 20 times. And I know that 5 will go into 565 1, 1, 3. 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 6 once, leaves me with 15. I got 113 there. And then I can also reduce. 4 goes into 16 4 times. 4 goes into 20 5 times. 4 goes into 8 2 times. And 4 goes into 12 3 times. And I think that's all I can reduce. I can't reduce anything else top and bottom by the same factor. So I'm going to have 15 on the bottom because 5 times 3 is 15. And on the top I've got 113 times 8. 24, 8, 9, 10. So 904. So once I do that division, how many times will 15 go into 90? 15 goes into 90 how many times? Hello? Okay. And then we're going to get a 0, right? Because I cannot put 15 into 4. And then 15 will go into 40 at least 2 times. That'll give me 30. 10 here. And 15 will go 6 again. And so now I'm getting the 6 repeating. So if I were to round it, I would go $60 and 27 cents because I'm getting 60.2666666. And we should always round money to the nearest cent. It says it right here in the instructions. Round to the nearest cent. So that's 2 decimal places. So Matthew, is that what you got? $60.27? Okay. Eventually. So once I get 60.2666666, it's going to be rounded to 60.27. 50? Where did you get a 5 from? See, when we come up here and we have 6 times 15 is 90, you have a 4, and 15 can't go into 4, so that's a 60. But 15 can only go into 40 2 times, not 5 times. That'll give me 30. The 5 is too big. Because isn't 5 times 15 75? So I don't know how you got a 5 there. Unless I did something wrong on my math. Did you divide it by, did you do 8 over 12? No, I'm still getting... Yeah, isn't that 3.75? No, it should be 60.27. Even when I use the calculator, I get the same answer. Okay, put in 565 times 0.16 times 8, and then divide it by 12, because it's 8 out of 12 for the time. And you should get 60.2666666, which is what I got here when I divided, and then round it, and you should get 60.27. Janita, did you get that? Okay. Now there was also in this chart, there's a couple that have a year and a fraction, and it looks like the very first one is this one that says Carl Crow. So let's look at his interest. The principal is $8.55. The interest is 0. Let's move this over. 0. You got it now? Finally? Okay. 0.0675 is your interest. And then your time is 3.25 years. So just make all those decimals and multiply it. Tell me what you guys get. Don't forget to round. 855 times 0.0675 times 3.25. Yeah, I just converted everything to a decimal since these are kind of decimals. Yeah, everything. I did the time as well as the interest into a decimal. And you guys should be able to do any kind of conversion by now, okay? So since I had 0.565, I'm going to put 0.57. So I got $187.57 when I rounded that for the interest, because I have to round it. For Carl Crow. And so I will let you guys use your calculators on this assignment, only because it's pretty much business math and they usually use calculators for this. If you were taking your GED, they would probably have a problem like this in the calculator section. So it's okay for you to use your calculator today. On the compass test, they let you use the calculator throughout the whole test. So a calculator is just fine. So what I want you to do is finish this assignment, and after break I will be doing the book check, so I don't want y'all disappearing on me, okay? The few of you that did show up today, okay? I don't know what happened to my people from yesterday. Let me know if you have any questions on any of the tests. How are the tests going, you guys? Pretty easy? Okay. And if you have any questions on the assignment itself. Remember, we need to do a little review over the weekend because you're going to have an assignment for a review next Monday, okay?